All right, today we're diving into a real literary cold case, one that's been unsolved for over 200 years. We're talking about Samuel Taylor Coleridge's haunting and famously unfinished poem, Christabel. It's this incredible story about a pure, innocent soul, a mysterious and seductive stranger, and a supernatural crime that, well, it was never really solved.
You know, the whole poem really hinges on this one massive conflict, what seems to be true versus the terrifying reality that might be hiding just under the surface. You've got this mysterious stranger who, on the face of it, is a totally helpless victim. But, as you're about to see, the truth, it's way more sinister and complicated than that. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this thing. We'll set the scene with the midnight mystery, then meet the seductive stranger. After that, we'll start decoding all these supernatural clues, try to figure out who or what Geraldine really is, look at the spell of corruption she casts, and finally, we'll talk about why this thing is still an unfinished masterpiece.
All right, first up, a midnight mystery. So our story kicks off in a super classic Gothic setting. I mean, picture this. It's the witching hour. Dead of night, the castle's gone quiet, and there's a serious chill in the air. The stage is just perfectly set for something strange to go down.
And here she is, our main character, the lovely Lady Christabel. She's basically the picture of innocence and purity, right? She's snuck out of her father's castle to pray under this huge, ancient oak tree. And that detail is important. It's this place that's just dripping with old kind of pagan symbolism. And she's there praying for her knight, her fiancé, who's off somewhere far away.
But just as she's praying, she hears something. A soft moaning sound from the other side of that oak. What is it? You know the poem makes it clear the air is still, so it's not the wind. No, this is a moan, like someone's in pain. And right there, that's our very first clue that she is definitely not alone out there. Okay, part 2, the seductive stranger. This is the encounter that changes absolutely everything. So Christabel, probably a mix of curious and a little scared, goes to see what's making that sound.
And who does she find? A woman named Geraldine, and let me tell you, she is described as stunningly beautiful, bright, dressed in a silken robe of white. But her story? It's a total nightmare. She says she was kidnapped by 5 warriors, tied to a horse, and just abandoned under the tree. She looks completely helpless, totally exhausted, and she's begging Christabel for help.
So Christabel, moved by pity, does exactly what you'd expect a good person to do. She offers the stranger safety in her father's castle. But she goes even further. She offers Geraldine a place in her own bed for the night. I mean, think about it. It's this incredible act of kindness and trust that, you guessed it, is going to have some seriously terrifying consequences. Next up, decoding the supernatural clues. Because as soon as they get to the castle, things start getting weird. A whole series of bizarre, supernatural things start happening. And these are the clues, right? The little signs telling us that something is very wrong here.
Okay, let's just run through the evidence here. As they get to the iron gate, Geraldine just sinks. Like she's in pain and can't cross the threshold on her own. Christabel literally has to carry her over. Then, the old family dog, a mastiff that's always quiet, lets out this angry moan in its sleep as they pass. As they go by the fireplace, a little flame, a tongue of light, leaps out from the embers. And maybe the biggest red flag of all? When Christabel suggests they thank the Virgin Mary, Geraldine just says she's too tired to speak. The warnings are piling up, and they're not subtle.
So to really get a handle on what's going on with Geraldine, it helps to know about this idea called the sublime, which a philosopher named Edmund Burke talked about. Basically, the sublime isn't just about something being beautiful. It's a feeling of awe and terror and even powerlessness that you get when you're faced with something huge and powerful and kind of dangerous. And that is Geraldine to a T. Her beauty isn't comforting, it's scary, it's overwhelming.
All right, let's get to the big question. The identity of Geraldine. Is she a demon, a double, or some kind of repressed desire? I mean, who or what is she really? Because she's obviously not just some poor lady who got lost in the woods. There are a few really compelling theories that people have been debating for like centuries.
So one really powerful way to look at it is that they're basically two sides of the same coin. You've got Christabel on one side, total innocence, purity, the self. And on the other side, you have Geraldine, experience, corruption, the other. She represents this seductive, dangerous world of experience and sexuality that Christabel knows literally nothing about. Geraldine is the knowledge that's about to shatter that innocence.
And this really breaks down into two main camps. First, you have the religious reading. From this angle, Geraldine is a literal demon, or a lamia. That's a kind of serpent-like succubus from mythology, and she's been set to corrupt a pure soul, kind of like Satan tempting Eve. But then you've got the psychoanalytic reading. This one says Geraldine isn't real at all. She's actually a part of Christabel's own mind, her Ide, all her repressed desires and impulses, suddenly coming to life.
Okay, so once they're alone in Christabel's room, Geraldine unleashes her power. She disrobes, and Christabel sees something so horrible the poem just says, "It's a sight to dream of, not to tell." Then Geraldine pulls her close and casts a spell, saying this, "In the touch of this bosom there worketh a spell." She's basically binding Christabel to silence, making it impossible for her to tell anyone what happened between them. The secret is locked away. Now for the morning after, a spell of corruption. The sun is up, but the nightmare is far from over. In fact, this is when we really start to see the spell's effects, as Christabel herself begins to change.
So Christabel's father, Sir Leoline, comes in, and he's actually thrilled to meet Geraldine. He recognizes her as the daughter of an old friend he had a falling out with. But as he embraces her, this stranger, Christabel is hit with this awful vision of what happened last night, and her body just reacts.
The poem says she drew in her breath with a hissing sound. A hissing sound. Think about that. Christabel, our symbol of pure, dove-like innocence, is making the sound of a snake, the ultimate symbol of evil and temptation. It's chilling.
And this just forces you to ask, who is the serpent now? Has Geraldine's evil just rubbed off on Christabel? Or has it actually gotten inside her, becoming a part of her? Suddenly, the line between the victim and the monster gets really, really blurry. And even with a clear warning, nobody listens. The court bard, a guy named Bracy, tells everyone he had a dream about a dove named Christabel being strangled by a beautiful green snake. He literally warns of an unholy presence. But Sir Leoline, he's completely under Geraldine's spell. He just dismisses the warning and sees his daughter's terrified reaction as nothing more than woman's jealousy. And in the most heartbreaking moment of the whole poem, he turns his back on his own daughter and chooses to lead Geraldine away himself.
And that's where it ends, Coleridge's unfinished masterpiece. The case remains open. The story just cuts off right there, leaving us with this massive cliffhanger.
Yeah, the poem was just never finished. Coleridge left Christabel as a fragment, its mystery totally unsolved. He gave a few different reasons over the years, but what matters is that we never find out what Geraldine really wanted or what happened to Christabel, and honestly, that might be the whole point. The power is in the not knowing.
So, that leaves the final question to you. Is Geraldine a real demon, or is she the darkness that Christabel found inside herself? Are we looking at a story about a literal, supernatural evil corrupting a pure soul? Or is this a much more complicated psychological story about the darkness that lies sleeping inside all of us, just waiting for someone to invite it in? The evidence is all there. The case is yours to solve.